Hello.
Hello.
Congratulations for this movie. I heard that it had very good reviews. I want to ask you, how did you meet? How you both meet?
Oh, well, we met at university in 1980 when we were 18. And then Tom didn't ask me out for another 15 years. He took his time. And then when we got together again in 1995, boom, off it went. We were married and had 2 kids within a very short amount of time.
Do you believe that love is what saved you?
Yeah, it was really precious to me. I was so lucky to be able to be with Nick. In 1999, when the action of the movie happened, I was king of the world. You know, I was suddenly in a relationship with the one person that I'd always wanted to be with, and we had children. We had a beautiful house in the middle of the country, in the middle of a lake, plenty of money, and everything was going so well for us. And sepsis struck me down within a few hours, and I more or less died. Went into a coma. I was in a coma for 5 months, woke up, and I couldn't remember even who Nick was. But suddenly she kind of presented me with our 2 children, and I remembered everything that we'd had together and realised that I had to somehow find the strength to get up out of my hospital bed and find a way to walk on false legs and carry on and be a dad and be a husband. And that's what the movie's about. It's about that desire to try and go back into the ashes of a burning building and find what's really precious, come out with it and make it glorious again. And we've been really blessed to be able to do that.
How long did it take, the production of this movie, since everything happened?
Oh, wow. Well, this all happened in 2000. We started talking to Bill Clark, the director, in 2007. We thought we might make a documentary. We just did it for the interviews, to be honest. We really didn't think it was going to get made. Then it just had so many chances to fail, but the producers, he kept on acquiring people who would get behind it, and every time somebody else would drop it, another person would step in, and so they just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until 2015 they were actually able to shoot. So, you know, that's what happens with small British independent movies, especially when there's a recession or a crash. So it has been a hell of a journey, but somehow because the likes of Mel Paynton and Pippa Cross, the producers, they just kept on pushing it and selling it when nobody would listen, and then eventually people did listen. So
that's amazing. Thank you for this interview, and I hope this awares the people of this illness, that it's very important that they know, because I'm sure you want to.
Yeah, 44,000 lives are being lost every year. And if you think about that number, you think about all of the husbands, the wives, the fathers, the mothers, and the grandparents, and the friends that are affected, and the money, the money that it costs to treat the survivors. It's extraordinary. It's a big deal, So if we can help the Sepsis Trust to spread awareness and save lives, just one life would be something. It would be like. It would make all the suffering worth it.
I believe that. Thank you very much. Hi. I would like to ask you, how was the casting for this film? How did you find the actors who played?
Definitely a Pippa Cash question.
There's actually a big shout. There's our fellow producer is the most wonderful casting director called Ros Hubbard, who's gone AWOL. But please tell her we love her on your piece.
Yes, we love you, Ros.
We work with Ros, but actually I was able to pick up the phone to Ros and say, I'm working with a wonderful agent at the moment called John Grant, who should take some credit on this one. And
Yes.
and I said to John at some point, we have got this extraordinary script about this couple. You know, it's right up Joe's alley. Do you think she would read it? And he said, well, I'll read it. And he read it and said, I think Joe will love this, and gave it to Joe. And that was probably 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And Joe has stuck with us through thick and thin and many episodes of Downton Abbey. And finally, we were able to do it. And
Well, Downton Abbey finished, didn't it?
thank God. I mean, not thank God for Downton Abbey, but thank God we didn't get interrupted again.
So we could actually make the film.
And Tom is an extraordinarily sensitive actor who, you know, had been, you know, racing around doing Da Vinci's Demons forever and a day, and actually was just perfect for this part. He looks like Tom Ray looked, and you know, Tom Ray was a very handsome man. I mean, still is, I think, a very lovely man, and they were very good casting, and we were very lucky to have them. So.
Did you have any struggle in terms of making the film as real as it is, the story?
That's a question for the director, really. I mean, it's got an authenticity to it. It's got a sort of bravery to it, hasn't it?
It has, and it has a rawness that aligns with the story, really. I mean, I think if we'd been given loads more money, we might have ended up with something a bit more glossy. It wouldn't have probably been as telling, really. Even though at times Pippa and I were banging our head against a brick wall, and it was quite chilly, wasn't it? November, December could have done, but it was. When you have two people like that on set, you can't help to be inspirational. Every day you wake up and every day it has to be done. So.
Was it difficult to find a distributor for this film, which is a story like very that makes an awareness of this illness that no one knows about?
That's kind of the point. Is not the illness, although obviously that's a great byproduct, and we're thrilled that we can promote sepsis awareness. But we were very lucky. We found in Genesius a company who were, you know, producing partner, financier, distributor, and are also selling the film around the world for us. So one-stop shopping doesn't get any better than that, and they have been fantastic. So, and they're a relatively young company. This film has gone from, you know, relatively humble beginnings to here we are tonight in the Curzon Mayfair. Yeah. And they have gone on that journey with us, you know, every step of the way. So I count myself lucky, because I do know how hard it is with other stuff I've done to get distribution. And, you know, we are in Cineworld's showcases from tomorrow, and for a film of our size, that is terrific.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much for this interview. Thank
Get the word out. Tell everyone they need to go, and then they need to tell everyone else to go. Thank you.
Thank
Would I want to go on? Would I want to survive this? Could I raise a family? Could I be a good father? I was just fascinated by finding out more and more about them. And so I spent a year interviewing them, and like you guys are doing now, and asking them questions and going back and watching the tapes. And then, you know, and then gradually this idea came over that year that we could make this into a film. And then the more I learned about their achievements, the more I realized that they may seem small, but when you're a quadriplegic amputee, they're huge, like climbing Mount Everest, and so all of that, I thought, well, this is a really exciting film. Will he, won't he, kind of thing, and audiences will get that. And here they are, so it has a happy ending. Or of sorts it has a happy ending, but, they're really good.
What made you decide to make a film instead of a documentary about this story?
When I found out about the scene that is really the climax of the film, which is the scene where Tom climbs a wall to get a ball back for an unhappy child, and when I learned that was the truth, I thought, actually, that's the climax to my film, and that will be what I. So now, if I have an ending, I have a film and I have a drama, and I wanted to explore it with actors and actresses who would take it to other places, and I was lucky enough to have two amazing actors. So, that was nice.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you very much. How was your first? You are a producer here, executive producer in this film. How was your first experience as a producer in a film?
It was incredible, thank you. Yes, it was. I'm so sort of thrilled and honoured that this was my first experience as an exec producer on this particular film, because it's a film that's very close to my heart and very close to everybody involved in it. It's Tom and Nick's story, and we always wanted them to feel ownership of it, and we always will do. And they were very involved and on set with us at times, and it was such a special experience. So yeah, I'm very proud.
What came you to say, yes, I want to do this? This is something
Well, I read Bill Clark's script about 4.5 years ago, and ultimately it was basically the most amazing love story I've ever read in my life, and it's true. And Tom and Nick go through the extraordinary, and it could be me, it could be you, it could be anybody in this room that happened to. And I thought, wow, these are the people that are the real heroes. You know, these are the people that, you know, deserve an award for their you know, input into life. And I just was blown away by, you know, by how they've overcome adversity in the most beautiful way, really. And I really want people to know about it.
Thank you very much. How did you engage with these true characters, Tom and Nicola, to prepare your character in this film?
Well, we waited for as long as possible to meet them. We didn't want to give them false hope that the film was going to get made in case it wasn't. And eventually we saw them the night before we started shooting, and we managed to actually sit with them and hear their story, be incredibly inspired by them, how they've managed to sort of not only stay together but be deeper in love and happier than they could ever be. And so yeah, that was a huge inspiration.
What would you say were the hardships of representing this kind of character? Because he went through a lot.
Yeah, I always feel bad about talking about the hardships for me, because, you know, like, I only had to do it for 5 weeks, and prosthetics I could take off at the end of the day, whereas this is Tom's life. The only thing I can really think of that's personal to me, that isn't something that equates to Tom, is the responsibility. I know I didn't expect to feel so responsible for a story like that, and for a couple, and for what they've been through, and doing it justice. And that was hard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.